Alrighty, so for episode 2 of this, we are already at the enemy base. And this is where the game actually starts to get, I won't say good, but at least tolerable. There's a bunch of mechanics that this game likes to hide from you, but once you figure them out, this is where the game actually starts to get enjoyable. What's actually kind of notable about it is you don't have any lethal means at your disposal. This is kind of ironic because this was a time when it was very easy to just, kill enemies. Instead, you sneak around. Your main form of defense is actually your papers, at least at first. If an enemy guard spots you, they'll ask for the papers, and you will have to show them. Whether the guard actually accepts or not is randomly determined. Unfortunately, the mechanic is slightly buggy. It's possible for them to get, stuck in a corner, like you just saw, and repeatedly demand your papers, and because it's randomly determined, eventually they will see through it. If they do see through it, you got about a second and a half to spray them with sleeping gas or nail them with the gas grenade. Gas grenades should only be used indoors. They're loud, but they have the advantage of knocking out everything in the room. Your first objective, at least one of your first objectives in every single mission, is to find a security card. Security cards are used to unlock locked doors. You have to find the console on the base, however, that unlocks all the locked doors. It's interesting to note that none of the enemies are really armed either. If one of them spots you and your cover gets blown, the alarm sounds and they'll try to grab you, and if they do, you're captured and you lose a life. One of the things that's interesting about the paper mechanic is it's actually one of those things that actually works really well in terms of concept. Because you are actually posed as one of the myriad guards, it actually does kind of work a bit. Now, one of the cooler parts of this is that you actually do have a couple of different methods if you do get detected to avoid the thing turning into a full-fledged alarm. The sleeping gas has the tendency to knock them out, which, of course, is always useful, but if you do it outside, the other guards will notice it, and if you do it inside, well, there's no downside to it, but it should generally be your last resort. Thankfully, there are ways to get around the usual problems. The mine detector is absolutely essential in this game. None of my friends knew how it worked the first time through. Now that I know what I'm doing, it's really easy to use, but when we first started, this was an absolute pain in the ass. You basically got to hold the button down. It makes you completely immune to mines while you're using it, so yeah, you can just use this to traipse through the minefields, of which there are countless in this game. You can actually find a wide variety of useless items when you're checking the various cabinets and stuff. Sometimes you'll find useful stuff like gas grenades, like I just found. Other times it'll be stuff like photos of Elvis or maps of Hollywood. Always knock a soldier unconscious if they're in the room before you actually do anything important like unlock doors or use the neutralizer, which we'll have to use in this mission. Interestingly, we're almost at the point where the papers are going to become more or less useless, and why actually has a lot to do with an item we're about to find. In every mission, there is an alarm console. There is a security console, which unlocks all the doors. The alarm console will shut off the alarms if you're actually spotted. That was a gas grenade. I just wanted to show one off. But a third item that is hidden around in every base is one of these. Let's see if I can get one. Next room actually has it. Sorry for that. There it is. That's a maintenance worker's uniform. The guards, for the most part, know one another. That's why they're so quick to ask for your papers every time they see you. You're a new face, and even though you're wearing a guard's uniform and you have the credentials to back it up, it doesn't always work when you're the new guy. They don't know the maintenance guys. So the guards won't question it as long as you don't get too close if you're using the maintenance worker's uniform. In fact, about a third of the time, they won't even notice you if they can actually see you checking a cabinet. That doesn't mean you should actually check the damn cabinets when you're in their proximity, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Like, so much easier, it's ridiculous. The biggest reason you should go for this thing is that it saves time. Lots and lots of time. And time is a major issue in this. You have about 20 minutes worth of real time in this game. And just for the mission. And to give you an idea of just how punishing the time limit is on these missions, you're going to see just how close I come to... I think it's within like a minute and a half left on the timer by the time I beat this stupid mission. Your main goal in this mission is to acquire 4 specific chemicals, bring them to a chemical analysis machine in the center of the map, and one of them is a potential neutralization agent for the nerve gas. You then bring the neutralizing chemical to the nerve gas, use it on the vat, and you've completed the mission and you got to escape. Again, using the helicopter. Jimbo can't swim, so if you go in the water, you die. You also die if you get caught or you step on a mine. I'm pretty sure there's other ways to die too, including running out of time. And true to form, the game gives you these absolutely hilariously sarcastic responses if you fuck up. You may have noticed that I'm not even bothering with trying to use papers anymore while I have the maintenance uniform. The reason why is basically once you have the maintenance uniform, your papers almost 99% of the time will not work. I have seen the papers work anyway, but they almost never do because they no longer match your uniform type. Your paperwork is designed to give you the appearance of a guard. This is a maintenance worker's uniform, so obviously that's the downside. Does make it way easier to get around, though, especially when you have to gather up all these items. The fortunate thing is I've done this map like a fucking 100 times, and this is still an incredibly difficult game. Even if you know where everything is, it is so easy for something to screw up at the wrong time and just everything to go foul, especially indoors. The guards have a really kind of weird hitbox that basically covers their entire boot, so it's possible for you to accidentally get close, move by accident, and that counts as you trying to get away from them, and they immediately sound the alarm and try to grab you. So unless you absolutely are quick on the trigger with the sleeping gas, it basically will screw up your run right there. You've got 3 lives, which is actually kind of weird because on most of the helicopter runs you have unlimited. It's weird because I think it's like they recognized that the helicopter was much less entertaining than the actual sneaking around part. See, just right there. He didn't even ask for papers. It was just bam, straight to security alert. That was because of that hitbox issue I told you about. That happens with... Oh, there's the alarm console. If you have an alarm card and the alarm's already sounded, you use that to shut off the alarms. Humorously, you can also use the alarm card to turn on the alarms. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can totally do it. It's really nice of them to stash gas grenades in their various cabinets. Like, who put this here? The main advantage of sleeping gas is that it's silent. so you can easily use it outside without any consequences. Gas grenades are loud, but they fill the entire room. As a result, if you use a gas grenade outdoors, it immediately sounds the alarm. You don't want to do this. To the best of my knowledge, there's no additional way to get sleeping gas. And here's the analysis computer. We put in our chemicals, and we get the neutralizer. It's possible to beat this with only one chemical. If you get really, really lucky, it's entirely possible for, if you guess the right one, for a chemical to be the neutralizer. And we have like less than 2 minutes of in-game time in order to pull this mission off, too. These weird metal cases usually have good stuff in them. And nerve gas is neutralized. Our next objective is to get out of here. That is actually something easier said than done, though. It's actually kind of funny. I used to have to come up with these, like, ridiculous ways to get around because I didn't know how to use the mine detector, and now I do. Anyway, mission complete.